policy was planned for. So we have to understand where we went wrong. What was that wrong that happened, that despite of good intentions, I mean, I'm sure you will all will agree that government makes policy to help people. Institutions are running to help people, make their life better, to support them. But as the years are passing by, as the decades are passing by, we see that the challenges on this planet have only increased. So we should wait and think. Certainly there is some gross error. We have to accept that now. If you don't accept, that means then the result won't change. Then we are just telling that we are just doing everything correctly. So that honest admission is very important to be happening for the change in our lifestyles. That is very, very, if somebody is convinced that my lifestyle is the best lifestyle, then good luck. But if we think that, no, still there are some scope of improvement, I've tried my best sincerely, and still I feel that I'm struggling with certain aspects of life, then we would like to understand that in these 3 days. So that openness would be helpful. So I will share the context, what we have made it here. So the context for this presentation. So anything we are going to discuss in these 3 days will be aiming to achieve this. And we'll be sharing these presentations on the groups. A whole presentation will be shared with you. And you can have this, and can be, if it can be of useful, you can use it anytime. We want stable families living peaceful lives in prosperity and physical security. So this is applicable universally. What we are talking is applicable universally to all the species. So we are not thinking about only a particular species. We are talking about all the species that exist today. While free to pursue our own spiritual or religious beliefs, we want adequate, nutritious food and clean water, with time for family, friends, and community, and leisure for cultural and other pursuits. We want real education that ensures real wealth, health, in balanced lives. So this is what we want. Till now, what I have read is what we want, what we need. And next is how we have to behave if we want to achieve this. How we are supposed to be behaving. So we should be brought about by behaving with integrity as a being with all life forms, by ensuring them to live their lifespan performing their functions. So this is very important. So the behavioral aspect that is expected from us is that we have to allow all the life forms to live their full lifespan. We cannot interfere in somebody else's lifespan for our purposes. We cannot interfere, and allowing them to perform their function for the Lord. So whatever any species created, it has been created with a purpose to perform, and that should be allowed. We should be open, tolerant, non-judgmental, honest, and respectful, ensuring mutual respect and support for team humanity as we live with each other and our environment in harmony. So these are behavioral traits expected from us to be achieving the kind of life we described in the first 5 points. If you want to achieve a kind of lifestyle, you have to behave accordingly. And lastly, all to be ensured for many generations to come. So our action should be ensuring the above things for the generations to come, not only for us. For all the generations to come, on the foundation of ethical and humane behavior to all life, regenerating soil, we call Mother Earth, and biologically diverse communities, this include all the species on earth, land, in the rivers, lakes, and oceans. So existing anywhere and everywhere, all life forms. Not only those are connected to us or with whom we can relate to. This is including all that the Lord has created or the Supreme Power has created. So this is our context. This is what we want to achieve. is explained in one of the scriptural verse. Swasti prajabhya paripalayantam nyayena margena mahim mahesha go brahmanebhya swamastu nityam loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. So the same thing is described in this Vedic verse. It says that may there be well-being to the people. May the king rule the earth along the right path. May the cattle and the wise man have well-being forever. May all the beings in all the worlds become happy. Peace, peace, and peace be everywhere. So same thing is explained that we want peace and well-being for all the species together. This is from Srimad Bhagavatam. Here, Brahmaji, who is known to be the creator of this planet or the Brahmanda, he is telling something to that what he felt when he didn't understand how Krishna's system is working. This is from 10:13:44. Instead of defeating Krishna, Brahma himself was defeated, for he could not understand what Krishna was doing. So we should hear this, that we are Brahma, we all. Today we should think that we are promoted to be Brahma. So that all that we are doing, Brahma himself was defeated, for he could not understand what Krishna was doing. So we also should think that we are not able to understand what Krishna is doing. Since Brahma, the chief person within this universe, was so bewildered, what is to be said of so-called scientists and philosophers? Sarva dharman parityajya mamekam saranam vraja. We should give up all our tiny efforts to defy the arrangement of Krishna. Instead, whatever arrangements he proposes, we should accept. This is always better, for this will make us happy. So if we learn to accept the arrangement given by the Lord, that will make us happy. The more we try to defeat the arrangement of Krishna, the more we become implicated in Krishna's Maya. So we see a lot of arrangements are done to make things better, but as we were discussing, only the problems have increased. Devi Yesha Gurmahi Maya Durataya. But one who has reached the point of surrendering to the instructions of Krishna, Mamevaye Prapadyante, is liberated, free from Krishna Maya. Maya Metam Tarantite. The power of Krishna is just like a government that cannot be overcome. First of all, there are laws, and then there is police power, and beyond that is military power. Therefore, what is the use of trying to overcome the power of government? Because you cannot do. It's not possible. Even if you keep trying, you will not be succeeding. Similarly, what is the use of trying to challenge Krishna? This is Brahma's realization. So, can you read what this elephant is describing, any of you? Yeah. Malnutrition, yes. And the list is unlimited. So the question here is how and why there is disfigurement in the society even after having proper objectives. Every project, every institution, every government, educational institution, religious institution, they are all running with proper objectives. If you read their objectives, they are wonderful objectives. None of them have made an objective that we should try to increase hunger, we should try to increase malnutrition, we should try to create land degradation, we should try to create floods in this. Nobody has created thing like that. Everybody has very good objective. Then the question is how and why this is happening. This is a big issue before all of us. These are the challenges we are facing today. The whole society, whole planet is facing this. It's a big issue everyone is aware of, but which is being ignored because everybody finds discussion about it uncomfortable. So generally people like to not to accept that this is happening, and they just keep bringing new and new policies. Every year, every 5 years, they will change the policy. Okay, now we will do better. Now we will do better. Now we will do better. But now we know all. Somebody is here 30 years, 40 years, 50 years. Different experiences we have. 60 years somebody. But we see that when we were born and when we are now today, this elephant is growing healthier and bigger, despite of our objectives. May it be United Nations, you name it. You can discuss of any organization. Everybody has proper objective, but the elephant is growing bigger and healthier. We are living with this elephant. We don't want this. But this is a reality today. So the actual cause of problems or diseases, we are trying to understand that from this slide. The problems we face are just unintended consequences arising out of decisions we have taken to manage the ecosystem we live in. So the problems are defined here as unintended consequences. We don't want this. They are unintended consequences because we have taken some decisions to manage the ecosystem. What is ecosystem will be covered in the future parts. So the cause of disease or a problem is actually the decision taken by us. This we have to understand. We are trained to think, or we are conditioned to be analyzing that every challenge or problem or disease is because of something external. But every single thing is related to a decision taken. A decision is something, it's internal, it's taken by us, taken by an institution, taken by a government. It is not external, it is an internal thing. So a real cure for a disease or problem shall happen only if the cause is addressed. So the cause is the decision taken. So if we don't reverse our decisions, the situations are not going to change. The root cause of all problem is a decision taken. For example, Bhagavad-Gita, Arjuna took a decision not to fight. That was his decision, right? And then Krishna gave him whole philosophical understanding of different yoga system. Then we know all those things. And then what happened is, Krishna said, now you decide what you want to do. And but Arjuna said, now I will fight. So the change was in his decision. The root cause of, he was same Arjuna, same Krishna, same battlefield, external, everything, nothing changed external. Only thing changes is internal understanding. And so his decision changed. So the root cause of problem is a decision taken. So that we have to understand as a thumb rule. Otherwise, if something will happen, we'll just immediately, okay, he did this, he did that. Because of this situation, I am here like that. We will blame the situations, we'll blame people, we'll blame the environment, we'll blame everything, but not our decision. Not our, never we will do that. This is the root cause. But as we are understanding today, that is the root cause. Now, how we take decision? Nischay buddhi, how do we get that? That we take decisions just to achieve our context, just to achieve the purpose of our life. So we take a lot of decisions on day-to-day basis, and it has to be in line with our context. Like somebody took a decision to come from Delhi to attend the seminar. So it's a decision taken. Our decisions are based on or influenced by the paradigms we own. So this is very important part to understand that we have a lot of paradigms and beliefs or perceptions. On that basis, we make decisions. Unintended consequence shall arise if the decisions are not in line with our context. So unintended consequence will only come if we are acting in a way which is not taking us towards our goal. So for example, if you want to go to Delhi, and if you buy a wrong ticket or if you board a wrong train, you can't reach Delhi, you might reach somewhere else. So then there is unintended consequence. You might think that, oh, I purchased a ticket, I boarded the train, but still I'm not reaching Delhi. You can't blame somebody for that because you boarded a wrong train, you purchased a wrong, something wrong you have done. So that is your decision. It's not that there are no trains going to Delhi. So unintended consequences shall arise if the decisions are not in line with our context. And to solve these unintended consequences, we need to shift from the paradigm that influenced our previous decisions. So there is a need to change the paradigm. So our decisions are influenced by the paradigms we have. If we will change those paradigms, then we will be having that ability to take a different decision. What is a paradigm? A paradigm is the way you see things, your point of view, frame of reference or belief. Paradigms you have influences your decision. Like somebody might think, like if you go before, people were thinking the earth is flat, then it's an egg shape, and now this came to a conclusion the earth is round. So the paradigms kept changing. So somebody was raised in an environment where right from the beginning he got opportunity to eat non-vegetarian food. So he has a paradigm that non-vegetarian food makes a person healthy. So try to understand how paradigms are created. That will come more. We are taking an example for that. But basically, in nutshell, paradigm is how you see things, your point of view, frame of reference or belief. That is what is paradigm. And that influences your decision. That influences your decision. So a group of scientists, this is an example we are trying to see. A group of scientists placed 5 monkeys in a cage and in the middle a ladder with bananas on the top. So the scientists we are trying to understand how paradigms are created. So a group of scientists kept 5 monkeys in a room and in the middle a ladder with bananas on the top. Every time a monkey went up the ladder, the scientists soaked the rest of the monkeys with cold water. After a while, every time a monkey went up the ladder, the others beat up the one on the ladder, because as soon as somebody goes up, they will start beating. So the cold shower will come. Because of that, they were feeling a lot of pain. So they stopped the monkeys from climbing the ladder. After some time, no monkey dared to go up the ladder regardless of the temptation. The ladder is there, bananas are there, but now they don't want to climb the ladder. Now they are changing the strategy. The scientists then decided to substitute one of the monkey. The first thing this new monkey did was to go up the ladder. Immediately the other monkeys beat him up. After several beatings, the new member learned not to climb the ladder, even though never knew why. Then the second monkey was substituted and the same occurred. They started beating the monkey, and even now the first monkey is participating in beating. The one who was replaced. The first monkey participated on the beating for the second monkey. Third monkey was changed and the same was repeated. The fourth was substituted and the beating was repeated. And finally, the fifth monkey was replaced. So now what you see is, what was left was a group of 5 monkeys that even though never received a cold shower, continued to beat up any monkey who attempted to climb the ladder for eating the bananas. They're all new. They don't know what cold shower is, but they just know that anybody who tries to climb the ladder, you should beat him. So they learned the norm and they continued it. If it was possible to ask the monkeys why they would beat up all those who attempted to go up the ladder, the answer would be, I don't know. This is how paradigms are created today. This is how paradigms are created, and then because we are raised like that, we think that this is a reality. So we need to change the paradigms so then we can have a better decision making. If you don't change them, then the decision will be same. So never let your education limit you from learning new things. We have to be very open. So it is there in the context. We have to be open, non-judgmental. It is very, very important. That is a behavior expected from all of us, to be open and non-judgmental. Otherwise, we will stop learning new things, because Krishna or the nature is creating everything to teach us. This is how we should relate to it. So this example of monkey is clear, right? Many times. Yes. together.
Everyone stay here, repeat this now, some people don't know why.
Right. Basically, everything is like that. Like when they are cooking, they are putting certain kind of spices in an order, but I doubt anybody know why we put turmeric, why we put this mustard seed first. What is the science behind it? Hardly anybody, because the mother did it, because her grandmother did it, and the grandmother did it. So we are just
Sorry,
following it. This is how it is.
can the question be repeated, because we can't hear offline? At least I couldn't hear.
Yeah, no, we are not taking questions, but because there are offline some people, so he was just sharing questions. We will keep a specific session for that in between, and I will announce that specifically. So we will take questions for online and offline both. But here somebody gave a comment that how he has seen in his life, he created comment paradigm about eating certain aspect. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
We are beings in the nature. There are no parts in nature, no room for competition or neglect. So this is another paradigm we are all holding, that there is a lot of competition and we have to survive somehow, you know. So there is this anthropocentric view, which is called human doing. In this, all decisions we make do not consider the well-being of the other species. This is what it means. So we think we are in the center and others are not important for us. And even if it is disturbing their life, even if they cannot perform their function for the Lord, we don't care for it. That is called anthropocentric or human doing. On the other side is nature, where we think us to be a human being among the all living beings, and the all living beings coexist. So in that, with that understanding or with that paradigm, with that consciousness, all decisions made simultaneously considers the well-being of all the other species. So this is what is expected. So there is no competition, but there is cooperation. The mode of cooperation has to be there in our decision-making process, not competition. So this is one slok from Bhagavatam, which says that one should treat animals such as deer, camel, asses, monkeys, mice, snakes, birds, and flies exactly like one's own son. How little difference there actually is between one's own children and these innocent animals. Just trying to understand the same point of anthropocentric, of human doing and human being, we can sense this from this translation. We are all creatures of material nature. In Bhagavad-Gita, it is said that the Lord himself is the seed-giving father, and material nature is the mother of all living beings in all shapes. Thus, material nature has enough foodstuff both for animals and for man by the grace of the Father, Almighty Sri Krishna. The human being is the elder brother of all other living beings. This is from one of the purport, but all assisting the concept which we just presented of human doing and human being. These are also similar verses. The world is my family, Vasudeva Kutumbakam. So there is a need for paradigm shift from human doing to human being. So we have to start thinking that we are just one among the beings created by the Lord. And this planet is not just only for us. This is for us to be coexisting, and we have a bigger role to play in assisting all the species to performing their own functions for the Lord. We cannot solve our problems with the same thinking we used when we created them. So this is the Vedic paradigm. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. The personality of Godhead is perfect and complete, And because he is completely perfect, all emanations from him, such as this phenomenal world, are perfectly equipped as complete wholes. So this is a little difficult to relate, that everything that emanates is also complete. Whatever is produced of the complete whole is also complete in itself. So everything that is produced is certainly coming from the Supreme Personality, because he is a seed-giving Father. So it is complete in itself because it is performing its functions for the bigger whole, what we see, the whole creation. But because we cannot relate with it, we think that it is absolute and we try to remove that. Because he is the complete whole, even though so many complete units emanate from him, he remains the complete balance. So 1 plus 1 is 1, 1 minus is 1, 1 is also 1. So there is no change in the completeness of the Supreme Personality. So each species is something that is simultaneously a whole in and of itself, as well as a being of a larger. So in that way, independently also it is complete because it is performing its function, but the function that is performed is keeping in mind the larger whole. This is how we should be performing our functions, not that only for us. Because we started thinking like this, that the food is only for me, the planet is only for me. So every decision we took, we started becoming more and more detrimental to the planet. Like we discussed this green revolution always. The green revolution was to increase food production for humans. We did that, but then many challenges came up. The soil degraded, water table depleted, diseases increased, environment became polluted, soil erosion, and whatnot. So because we took a decision, but it was not considering the context in mind, that we can't be endangering other species. So we thought, oh, this pest, we should kill them, and all those things. Animals coming on the field, we should remove them. No monkeys allowed. They will eat a lot of bananas, and what will I eat? So all those competitive mentality kept increasing, and we see what we are here today. The whole planet has degraded like anything. So this is highlights of this paradigm. This paradigm means Om Purnamada. We are splitting it some points to understand. It is synthropic. It means that the resources do not diminish. When we say 1 plus 1 or 1 minus 1 is still 1, that means the resources are not diminishing. This is how the system was given. So if you think of forest, the species are coexisting and everything is just arranged. There is no kind of arrangement done by humans. The only arrangement humans have done in forest is that, if at all, we have not intervened in there. We are just allowing them the lifespan to perform their functions. We are allowing all the species to perform their function. So it is fully functional and everything is just manifesting wonderfully well. Increasing population doesn't deplete the resources in the ecosystem. So this is another understanding today. Increasing population is a problem. So a lot of propaganda is done to control the population, and still even today, we feel that the population is a problem. But population is a resource. Population is not a problem. It's a resource. It has to be viewed like that. The resources are available at the site. No need for any inventions. So all the resources we need to be living a simple life are available at the site. We don't have to invent anything, or we don't have to manufacture anything. No difference between the farm and the farmer, as we are a being in the farm. So we are managing a landscape or a farm, and we, as a farmer also, we are just part of it. We are not that we are something separate and the farm is something separate. We have to learn to be thinking like that, that all the species that are on the farm has to coexist. That understanding has to come. There are no parts in nature. Each species is something that is simultaneously a whole in and of itself, as well as a part of a larger whole. The whole is more than the sum of its parts. So when we hear this example, fingers, ears, nose, mouth, stomach, so they all cooperate to feed so that the food reaches the stomach. Not that the finger eats separately, or the hand has its own arrangement, or the legs has its own arrangement. So the whole is more than the sum of its parts. So when they all work for the whole, then the performance of the entire system is more progressive. Yeah, complicated versus complex. This is very important to understand. So all technological inventions are man-made. It is a connection of parts And hence damage of one part leads to stoppage of the equipment. For example, a motor car, it has many assembled parts in it. And motor car is made by us. It's a technological thing made by humans. So any one part missing from that, the vehicle will stop functioning. So you know that something has gone wrong. So nature is not man-made. We are just managing or orchestrating it. Even by wrong management, it doesn't stop functioning. Instead, it self-organizes and keeps functioning. So that is a special peculiarity of nature. It will not stop functioning, but it will keep running with unintended consequences. So if you have done something wrong, it's not that the nature has just stopped and everything is on a full stop. It is still moving, and it is moving. And so we don't understand where we do mistakes. So that is why it is called complex. We cannot understand the complexities of the nature. It's very difficult, very difficult. But what we create is complicated. So we can know, okay, to stop something. Anybody can know. The mobile is not turning on. That means the battery is dead. We know that. But nature is not like that. It will keep functioning. So we could not realize where we went wrong after so many years. So we are struggling. So the elephant is only growing bigger. The challenges are only increasing because we could not understand. We cannot estimate what has gone wrong. We don't understand it totally because nature is so complex, which means nature is not to be managed in parts, but as a whole. This is another kind of a loophole or training that is given to us. To us means the society at large, that we are trained to manage things in parts. Like, for example, government has a health department, then they have an environmental department, then they have a department to develop industry, then they have a department to expand urban cities. So basically, these are all quite contradicting. If you analyze this, they are quite contradicting. They want to stop the extinction of the species, but then on the other hand, they are removing the forest. Like if I talk about India, there is hardly 20% of forest land left. And one point in time was 90% forest land. So, and world over this is happening. It's not only about India. So, nature cannot be managed in parts. This is what we have to understand. We cannot manage it in parts. It's not possible. If we think, Hare Krishna, hence there is no room for competition in nature. So every species is just performing its function in full cooperation with the nature. Full cooperation. We might not understand it, but this is a reality. So holistic management. So it is decision, Nishchay Buddhi, or decision-making process that enables us to simultaneously consider these four aspects: economic, spiritual. Economic is on the top because this is how we are trained. Everything we think starts from whether it will be profitable or not, economically. So profitable can be redefined, profits. We can redefine profitability. And we are going to do that. Redefining profitability means considering all these four aspects in every decision we make: the social aspect, the environmental aspect, the economical aspect, and the spiritual aspect. We can't compromise on any of this. Simultaneously, we have to consider these four. Not that you are considering three and not following the spiritual things. We are considering three, not worried about the environment. You will have unintended consequences. All four has to be followed. We don't have choice, because if we want to achieve quality life, if we want to achieve the context what we have defined in the beginning of the presentation, this is must. This is must. So when we will do this, our paradigm, what we have received till date, will tell us, oh, how will we do this? It will come like that. But then we should again think, if I will not do, there will be unintended consequence, and there will be no change in my lifestyle. There will be no betterment. It will just continue like that. We might, because our current mindset will convince us for that. Oh, you do this much, no problem. Even if you do this damage, little bit of environment damage, the whole world is doing, what will you change? People think like this. And just changing to 1%, how will it change the planet? But this is our paradigm. This is how we think. Oh, only if you stop eating non-veg, but the whole world is eating, you also eat. These are paradigms. We are not complaining the mindset. We are not complaining that people are bad. What we are trying to understand is this is how people are. And they are like this because of the environment they grew in, because of the paradigm they received. We can't blame them for that. They all want good life. They all want a quality life. They all want a Krishna conscious life. But the paradigms are not allowing us to achieve our context. So it is very important to change the context. It starts from here. At every decision we take, we cannot damage environment. We cannot damage the social aspect. We cannot compromise on the spiritual standards. And we cannot be ignoring the economical aspect. Oh, let's do it. What is the problem? Who will do it? We can't think like this. It's not possible. It will have unintended consequences because, like we hear on many projects, somebody is playing some important role, and when the person goes, the project suffers. So that is a social aspect. So the social aspect has to be so well knitted that everybody is so very important in the system, and they are playing their role. And in a natural way, the society is supporting the whole institution, you say, or a project, you say, or if you talk about the country, the largest, or the nation, it should go on. It cannot be depending on some personality. It was never like that. Yeah. Function versus utility. So this is, you're shifting to the next topic on the, and this is also very important. Function is defined here as the purpose of a person or thing or an activity that is natural to the state of being useful, profitable, or beneficial. This is utility. So function is purpose of a person or a thing or an activity that is natural to it. And utility means the state of being useful, profitable, or beneficial. So for example, coconut. Coconut, you all know, right? You get drinking water from it and some pulp also. So coconut has a husk on it, which if you don't remove it, you can't get the pulp. So you might think why the Lord created this husk, right? Why it was created? Can anybody would like to answer that? Why the Lord? This is question to all, online, offline. If anybody want to answer, can raise their hand and speak. To protect the main content. Okay, good. What else?
Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Yes, somebody is online. Yes, please.
Yes, Prabhuji. सुलभा देवकर माता जी. Prabhuji, जो हस्क मैं हिंदी में बताती हूँ.
हाँ बोलिए, हिंदी में बोलिए.
जो हस्क रहता है नारियल, वो जब नारियल गिरता है पेड़ से, तब वो नीचे गिरेगा और उसके हस्क की वजह से बहा के जाएगा और जहाँ भी मतलब वो प्लांट बनेगा आगे जाके उसका.
Oh, very good. Yes. So she's from online. She said that because the husk is there, it doesn't sinks into the water and it floats on the shore and a new tree grows. This is why the Lord gave husk. I mean, we don't have to plant these trees. So you see these trees on the coastal belt, so many of them. So many of them. I never knew before I heard about it that this is how it is happening. We just know that we have to plant a seed and then only it will grow. But this is how it is functioning. So they are on the coastal belt and they need so much of water to grow. And the water is available there. It grows on the salty water, no problem. So point we are trying to bring is everything done by the Creator is with a purpose. And if we change, if we try to take, now only utility is focused, oh, coconut water is very healthy. That is utility part. So now we have started planting this everywhere. Because we focus on the utility part, but now so you need a lot of water to maintain it. And it is against the Creator's system. But this was naturally happening, it was naturally growing unlimitedly without any maintenance, perfect, no problem. So when we focus from function to utility, the project becomes unsustainable. It becomes unsustainable because you have to put in a lot of resources to maintain it. So here we are discussing about the cow now. what is function and utility of a cow. So primary function of a cow is its inborn quality of grazing. Primary function of udder is to feed the calf. The swadharma function is also defined here as swadharma. And utility is what we see in general today. Primary utility fixed on the cow is for milk and bulls for traction. This is what we know. Cows are for milk and bulls are for traction. This is utility. So utility should come only after function. Land and cow care or both should be the same. When a natural resource, in this case cows, is not used for its function, that means grazing, it leads to diminishing of the said resource and hence unsustainable. So we see all the projects of cow protection today are unsustainable because we have not allowed them to perform their function, and so the said resource has become a liability today. We need a lot of funds to maintain them. Otherwise, the system was so designed that they were regenerating the system. The cows were regenerating the whole system. We don't have to do anything for them. But because we are not allowing them to perform their function of grazing, this is why the Lord created them. Then we have to put in a lot of resources, lot of energy, and still it will be unsustainable. Still it will be unsustainable. So because when we talk about bulls, we think, oh, they will shift some weight from here to there or XYZ. And for cows, we look for milk. This is how we have classified them. But these are utility of cows, not their functions. So when we talk the word cows here, it means bulls also. Cows and bulls both. Because of this understanding or because of this paradigm, this is the unintended consequence. We don't want this. No society wants the cows to be in the garbage, suffering, going to, no. But this is a reality today. No government has made a policy for this, that they should be like this. The entire government body want that they should be out of this. But the problem is in this, in the paradigm of viewing them for utility and not engaging in their function. That is a root cause of problem. So the decision taken to be viewing them not for their function but for utility has resulted into unintended consequences, what we are seeing now. So since the utility fix is not there, function, they end up in the garbage. So now people are trying lot many other things. They will make a AC Goshala. They will do a lot of things. They will try to innovate different species of grass. They will try to feed them maybe 10 varieties of grass or different kind of grains. So many, they have that good heart. They have that good intention to support. But the problem is not we, the problem is the decision taken. The problem is the decision taken which is contrary to the nature of the Lord or the function designed by the Lord. That is the problem. So unless and until we rectify that, the situation won't change. We can keep trying for more years. We have already tried for 100 years, maybe another 100 years. Result will be the same. So unless and until the resource is engaged in its function, it cannot be sustainable. It will be unsustainable. So this is also described in Bhagavatam, first canto, chapter 17, text 3. Although the cow is beneficial because one can draw religious principles from her, she was now rendered poor and calfless. Her legs were being beaten by an uncivilized. There were tears in her eyes and she was distressed and weak. She was hankering after some grass in the field. So this is, 3 points are important which are highlighted also here. Number one is the cows are poor and calfless. They are separated. And she is hankering after some grass in the field, that means she is separated from the land. And third is beaten by an uncivilized. So she needs an intelligent caretaker. Mother Earth and Mother Cow needs an intelligent caretaker. This is what is required. These are the 3 challenges. So if we can solve these 3, it can ensure that elephant will disappear. All the challenges or problems we see today are only because of this. There is no other reason. There is no other reason. Only this. It looks so simple. It looks so simple. But if you will see, nobody has succeeded in doing this. And those who have done, they have brought transformation. There are projects which have done this. They have brings wonderful transformation in the situation of Mother Earth and Mother Cows both. And they are fully regenerative projects and sustainable. They don't need any inputs from outside. They are managing on their own. So these are the three things not addressed yet. Calves are separated from their mothers. Cows are separated from the land and are stall fed. In Sochalyas, we write here because they are fed in the place where they pass to urine. Cows not taken care of by civilized. Only when these three abuses are addressed can we expect the cows to be happy and any project with cows to be sustainable. Because our mind will say, oh, what is the problem if we keep them separate? And then people also go all the way to quote Krishna in this. Krishna was also doing that. So we will discuss that. But the point is, these are the challenges we are facing. If our paradigms can be changed and we can convince ourselves to achieve this, then the results will start changing. This is a slok from Rig Veda and Atharva Veda. It describes what happens when we separate a calf from the mother. Milk derived forcibly from the cows is poisonous and leads to innumerable incurable diseases. And this is when cows are separated from the land. Again, the same barriers in pastures angers the cows, and milk from such cow is linked to poison. Consequence of keeping cows in confinement. Such a person and society that keeps its cows in confinement in their homes suffer fall from grace of learned people and God. So there are many quotes like this. So this is the mistake. We are trying to manage the cows away from their natural habitat. Their natural habitat was fields, forest, moving on the land. But now we have created this system. Question is for what? Why we did this? Because this is a paradigm. Everybody was doing it. When we started serving cows, before that we saw everybody was doing this. Even 50 years back, everybody was doing this. So we thought this is the way to keep the cows. So again, we cannot blame people for this. It's a decision taken, and the decision was depending on the paradigm which we received. So we are just requesting to change that paradigm, which is on the principle of Guru, Sadhu, and Shastra, and change our decisions for betterment. Like a fish is removed from its habitat water, we remove the cows from the grasslands to do factory farming. The grasslands are becoming deserts, fruits and vegetables have gone, low in nutrients. The cows are being culled. So we just keep removing the cows. She is not functional. Functional in the sense she is not giving milk or the wool is not working. So we don't want them. This is how it's going on. So human activity of putting such strain on the natural function of any species in the ecosystem should no longer be taken for granted. So in the context we said that every species should be allowed to perform its function. Because if we don't allow that, that is the behavior expected from us. If we don't allow the species to perform their function for the Lord, there will be unintended consequences. Because everybody has an individuality to perform the function. We can't control that. I mean, even if we try to control, we cannot achieve the context. Then what is the point in doing that? So we try to control functions of so many species. If an insect is coming, I will not use the word insect. Yeah, let us use the word insect. If the insect is coming on the crop, we think it is damaging the crop. So we named it pest. We killed it. But what happened? Have we succeeded in achieving our context? The answer is clear, no. But now we thought we will do it in a different way now. Let us use organic things. But still the killing is going on. We are not allowing the species to perform its function. Still, another 100 years will conclude that organic farming is also a blunder. But only after 100 years, not before. So we have to understand this. So this context, what we have defined, is very, very important. We have to allow every species to perform its function. If we are intervening in that, we are inviting unintended consequences for us. Because we are intervening, not other species. Nobody is stopping us. Only we are stopping the other species to perform their function. Vishnu Puran. In Kali Yuga, cows will be honored as long as she delivers milk. So puja, this, that. These are paradigms. These are all paradigms. We will do puja to the cows, but we are not allowing her to perform the function the Lord wants. Starved, dry cows, burden, flooded cow shelter. So wrong decisions and their unintended consequences are still going on. You have to understand this. We are not the first one who are starting a project. Many people have started. So we have to focus on the decision-making process where we consider social, environmental, economical, and spiritual, all four together. If we miss anyone, then we just have to blame ourselves for the unintended one, nobody else. You can't blame anybody else for that. So insanity, nice definition. Doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. This is how the world is doing. We are just repackaging the thing, but doing the same thing, and we think that now the result will change. But no, the elephant we described in the beginning is going more and more bigger. So paradigm shift from utility to function is a need of the hour. Human doing to human being. This is all connected. Cooperation, no competition. Human doing to human being. Utility to function. They are basically talking the same thing. They're talking the same thing. These are some examples of human doing to human being in your mindsets, fertilizers, insects, weeds. Skip that. Nature functions in whole. The complexity of nature, the basic principle is that we cannot manage nature by its parts. We are all beings in the ecosystem. We cannot, should not manage plants. In isolation from the soil they grow in, or in isolation from the animals they graze them. All species or beings in the nature are designed to function with the whole in center. Decision taken without considering the context and the complexity of nature leads to unintended consequences. Basically, this is a summary of what we spoke today till now. And now there is a short video. Please, I hope the sound would be good enough to hear for both online and offline people.
Is a fancy word for land that is turning to desert. And this happens only when we create too much bare ground.
Soil and the plant and the climate are connected. If you don't have a living plant, you're going to have more evaporation. Is transpiration. When the moisture leaves through the plant. When it does that, it increases humidity, and when it increases the humidity, we have more rain. 60% of our rainfall comes from the ocean. But a lot of people don't realize 40% comes from small water cycles where our rain comes from inland. What's going on is we disrupted the small water cycles. That's when you have too much sensible heat coming off bare soil. You're having these huge vortexes of hot air going out. Instead of attracting the rain, it's pushing the rain clouds away.
Take 1 square meter of soil and make it bare, and I promise you, you will find it much colder at dawn and much hotter at midday than that same piece of ground if it's just covered with plant litter. You have changed the microclimate. Now, by the time you are doing that on more than half the world's land, you are changing macroclimate.
Desertification of our soils is a pressing threat to our climate and our species.
But I have for you a very simple message. About 2/3 of the world is desertifying.
As soils turn to dust around the world, every year 40 million people are pushed off their land. By 2050, it's estimated that 1 billion people will be refugees of soil desertification.
More than 20 civilizations in all regions of the world have failed because of agriculture damaging the environment. Their communities could not handle the deteriorating environment and the rising population. Globally, that's what we're doing today. Poor land leads to poor people. Poor people leads to social breakdown. Poor land leads to increasing frequency of floods and droughts, mass emigration across borders and into cities, and it's leading to ideal recruitment conditions.
What we know right now is the way we're feeding ourselves is undermining the very ecology that we're dependent upon. So the long-term prognosis for our survival on this planet, given business as usual, is very, very poor.
According to the United Nations, the world's remaining topsoil will be gone within 60 years. In other words, unless we find a way to save our soils, we have 60 harvests left.
Yeah. So very, very important aspects were given in this. And to summarize, the root cause here addressed is the desertification that is happening, and the soil is getting degraded, and that is why all these things described on this elephant is happening. And to solve that is what we are discussing, is to connect the 3 points which we discussed. Connecting the cows with the land is most important part. We are not to connect dung with the land. Right now the effort is to connect dung with the land, not the cows. This is what the organic farming today means. But the real organic farming is connecting cows with the land. That is the real organic farming. So what is function of a farmer? So we know what farmer is, right? He has to do a lot of hard work, no sleeps, watering in the night, watering in the day, removing the weeds, planting the seeds, moving the tractor or the bulls, and then all the time in anxiety. This is what we mean the farmer, right? Today this is the definition of farmer, but there is more to it. This is how it is, right? But we will define it in a different way. The driver understanding the function of the parts of the car drives the car. So managing or orchestrating the functions of the living beings and other natural resources to achieve abundance without depleting of resources. This is a farmer. Today what we are describing is a miner. He's exploiting. He's just exploiting all the species, land, cows. The whole program is to exploit. So things are depleting. But here it is said, without depleting the resources. We have to be very conscious about this. We cannot be depleting the resources. So we are just orchestrating all the living beings to perform their function. This is a farmer. This is a farmer. So farmer might not be a person who knows how to grow things, but he knows how the thing grows. Biodiversity, these are some definitions. So in the presentation, this might be used. All the life forms moving and not moving in our landscape. So moving means insects, birds, some animals, and non-moving is mostly plants and trees. That is non-moving. Livestock, all moving life forms in our landscape. This can be cows, buffaloes, goats, all. Wealth is the natural resource available to us, the homes that shelter us, and the closeness of our ties with one another. This is our definition of wealth. So this, we need a change in the mindset. Wealth means big bank balance, lot of gold and silver ornaments, big house, fancy car, whatnot. So in this, if you want to achieve the context we are talking about, then we have to change our understanding about wealth in our life. So wealth is natural resources available to us. That is the real wealth. The homes that shelter us and the closeness of our ties with one another. So that is about community. That is wealth. So now biodiversity, I spoke. So it is beneath the soil, zoo above the soil, and zoo beneath our feet. So there is life all around. Characteristics of nature's farming. Mother Earth never attempts to farm without livestock. It raises mixed crops. So just view right now, hear this with an idea of forest in your mind. So in the forest, if you will see, there are always a lot of species moving. There are cows, there are zebras, there are giraffes, there are elephants, there are all kinds of species, deers and whatnot. So they are always moving. There is livestock. Then number two, raises mixed crops. So you can't find a forest there is only one type of a tree or one type of a plant. It is all very diverse. So there is diversity. Number two, preserve soil. So there is no soil erosion. Because of this diversity, because of this livestock, there is no soil erosion. Process of growth and decay balance one another. So if some tree is dying, there are new trees growing. If some animal is dying, there are new animals taking birth. So it's an ongoing cycle. Greatest care is taken to store the rainfall, effective rainfall. So the rainwater is stored in the soil. There is no water tanks there, or no drainage system, no irrigation system. There is no. It's just working on the nature is perfect on its own. So the rainfall has to be made effective. This is what we learn. What mean by effective rainfall will be also covered. So we have to make the rainfall effective for our landscapes. The rainfall is there, but it is not effective. It drains our soil, it takes away our topsoil, and the water also goes. So whether it rains or doesn't rain, what does it matter to us then? Principles to farm with livestock. So these are core principles of regenerative farming. This will be covered in detail in the following days. But understand the context. That is our first point. To understand the context is most important part. Then minimize soil disturbance. Number three is maximizing the diversity. Number four, keep the soil covered, either with living roots or dry matter. Maintain living roots year round, like in the forest. We have living roots year round. It's always covered with green things. And most important is integrating the livestock. So these are the core principles of regenerative agriculture, or you can say farming. So we finished the first part of today. Now there is second part. It's 11:25. So we can have a 10-minute question answer and then a 10-minute break. And then we resume that. That will take another 1 hour. So we'll be finishing like around 12:45, and then 10 minutes for question answer will be there. So online devotees, if you have questions, you can type on the chat. We will read the questions. And offline, if you have questions, you can put your questions. Yes. After the break, it will be function of plants. So it will be connected. Everything is just connected. I mean, you can't be isolating anything, but if you can come, it will be good. It is talking about plants, function of plants mostly. If they all agree, I am okay. Thank you for that.
1, 2, 3 years, whatever time it is.
We will come at 1. We are first in the queue. You have a question? Yes. Take any instance you can take, then we will discuss that. For example, say farming. Let's start with that because we are talking the principles of simple living. So when we take any decision of farming, we cannot take a decision to kill any species. That is environmental and social aspect. When we see today farming, we are compromising on that. Every farmer, may be an organic farmer or an inorganic farmer, they are killing the life forms. So there are unintended consequences. Economical, because we are not depending on the natural resources, and we are depending on the purchase inputs. Farming is becoming even economically non-profitable. World over, farmers are losing money. They are in debts, loans. I read this Canadian statistics in 2010. It was published. Of 2010, I remember. 98.4% of the production was input cost for the whole country. So basically what they grew, they spent. So they need subsidies. So they need a lot of loan rebates and subsidized loans, because it is not a correct decision. The way the farming is done is not farming, it's mining, it's exploitation. So economic aspects and spiritual, the people who are doing are more focused on accumulating more. And spiritual aspect says that you just take what you need. That is the spiritual aspect of life. So all 4 are broken today in farming actually. Not even one is followed. So there is a list of unintended consequences. Yes. 1 second. Can you change that slide now? Yeah. Yeah. So very good question. So what I understood is the main 4 principles which you are supposed to be following. Regulative principles. So we derive religion. Milk is deriving religion in the liquid form. This is what you asked, right? Yeah, how to derive religious principles from the cow. So when the cows are taken care of by grazing on the land, you are not killing any life form. So Prabhupada writes in one of the purport, there's cow protection and farming are the only sinless occupation. But when they are done the way Krishna taught us, so when you are adapting to this principle of grazing, so connecting the cows with the land, then you are not killing any species. So when we one of the principle is no meat eating. So if you are not raising the cows, in some way or other we are supporting that aspect. If you are not eating, but still you are killing so many species. So it is said that what seen a fisherman does in the whole year, collecting the fishes, a farmer does in 1 day. Because the kind of life which is there on the soil is huge. Like in 1 teaspoon, we will see in the future presentations, there are billions of insects living. Every insect has presence of Krishna in the heart. And they are all performing function for the Lord. So that principle is broken. Number 2, cleanliness. Disfigurement of the society. This elephant is signifying disfigurement of the society. So everything has become so ugly looking now in the planet. Just because the cows are not grazing. The root cause of all problem is this. There are no water in the rivers now, no water in the soil now. There is no good food now. Our health are deteriorating. Minimum we should be living good healthy life of 100 years. People are struggling with 60, 70 now. So this is called the disfigurement of the society. So because we have not provided a clean environment to the cows, which they need, that is a requirement to be performing their function. They are living in their own stool and urine. So we are compromising on the principles We are not allowing them to graze. So and Prabhupada says one place, without cow protection, you cannot protect the Brahminical culture. So if you don't have good cows grazing on the landscapes, you don't have good soil, no good grass, no good milk, that means you don't have anything to offer to the Lord. No good milk you have, no milk ghee, no ghee you have. We term today something available as ghee, but it is not the pure ghee that is available today. So if we don't protect the cows, then we cannot perform any religious principle. And we are gambling too. We are trying, what is gambling? Gambling is trying to enjoy independently of the Lord. This is what we are doing all these years. Everything is independent of the Lord's creation. In that sense, we have to view that we are gambling. We think that we know better than the Lord. That is gambling. What else gambling means? Gambling doesn't mean you sit with the money and you are making bets. That is one understanding about gambling. But when we connect to the cows, then we are trying to make a livelihood independent of the cows now today, the whole world. So that is gambling. So we are breaking the religious principles. So the moment we get connected to the livelihood connected with land and cows, we are entering into an arena where we are living a sinless life, no sin. And so we can perform the religious principles properly. This is what I have understood. If somebody has a better understanding, can be shared. But it's a spiraling impact on the whole world, because we have a paradigm and we are living our lifestyles according to that. So, but the paradigm of Bhagavatam is different. So we have to be living our lives as per the paradigm of Bhagavatam, because that will sustain all the life forms together. Just by the cows moving on the land, all the species manifest in its full health. We will cover it scientifically, but just to understand in brief, I can, is it satisfactory? Thank you. So, question is very simple. We have farm, and wherever I go to farm, I find less time for bhakti. I mean, farming main interest आता है और डर लगता है कि भक्ति ना छूट जाए. Yeah, so her question is that her question is, she's Sulbha Devkar, she's online. She question is that every time I go on the farm, I have less time to do my bhakti. So I like to do farming, but then I also fear that if I go on the farm, I will give up my devotional services. So I think once we hear the entire presentation, you will find that there is nothing to do on the farm. So we will park this question for the presentation, because we have just begun this, because this is a very big question to answer at this point of the what we have covered the subjects. So we will keep it for future, but in nutshell, I have answered that it is not reality, because as I described the farmer, we think that farm. Sorry?
Prabhuji, I can't hear. मैंने 5 मिनट मिस कर दी, मुझे सुनाई नहीं दिया.
Okay, no, if you are mute, you can still hear. We
Yes,
are muting because there is. Okay. So my request was that this question is a very deep question, and which is not related to what we discussed in the first session, but maybe it is related to the things we are going to discuss in coming days. So I would request you to hold this for our future presentation. But in short, I can tell that once we understand the whole concept which we are going to discuss, there will be a lot of ample time to do bhakti, and rather only if we do farming we can do bhakti properly, because there will be a lot of time to perform devotional service. And whatever we do on the farm, Prabhupada said in one of his conversations on the New Vrindavan, that even if you don't get time to read Bhagavad-Gita, it's okay on the farm, because there you're living Bhagavad-Gita. So the whole lifestyle is doing bhakti. It's not that we are not doing bhakti. You will start relating your activities like that. Thank you.